Hey, what's up guys, SharpTony here, and we're in Pokemon Trading Card Game Online again for the final installment in our Hoenn Power Tin review. We're going to be looking now at, we've looked at the Blaziken tin, and I thought that one was the second best. We looked at the Sceptile tin, and I thought that one was the best. Now we're going to look at the Swampert tin. You may be asking, what is a tin, and how do I get one of these? You could purchase these online or at stores, and in these tins they come with a code card that is redeemable on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online for a 60 card deck that is playable in any format. And generally the decks can range from anywhere from really good to really bad. And if you did not notice by my mouse clicking, when I said really bad, I clicked the Swampert-EX tin. I'm not a fan of this one as much as the others. It's still useful, but let's take a look at it. We got the Lotad in here. We got the Lotad Lombre Ludicolo chain. I believe this is the one from... This is not from Roaring Skies. This would indeed be from Primal Clash, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And you've seen me use this card before. I do like it, but I don't know how it fits in with this deck per se. Because the Ludicolo and the the Lotad and the Lombre are useless. 2 for 20, terrible. 2 for 30, terrible. Ludicolo is kind of useful though. With the ability Captivating Rhythm, once during your turn before you attack, you may flip a coin. If heads, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with his or her active Pokemon. There's other Pokemon in these other tins that have the same ability, but that doesn't rely on a coin flip, because a coin flip's 50-50. It's not always great. There's no trick coins in this deck, which is one of the reasons why I don't like this Pokemon in this deck per se. I do like the move Solar Ray, which for a Grass Energy and a double colorless, you can do 80 damage and heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. But if I remember correctly, there's only 2 double colorless energies in here, and I think there are better places to put them. Then you have Bergmite and Avalugg. I've never really been a fan of either. Avalugg's 3 for 30 with 2 retreat, or Bergmite's 3 for 30 with 2 retreat cost is just terrible. And then we move on to the Avalugg. Frost Barrier, 3 for 40. For stage 1, a lot of HP. I'll give him that. Bunch of HP. Bunch of HPs. And this move isn't really going to be helpful. Reduce damage by 20. And the move Shatter, 4 for 90, which is okay. Discard any Stadium card in play. That really stinks if you need the Stadium card in play, because then this Pokemon's virtually useless if you need that card. Another Pokemon I do not like, Alomomola. 4 for 80 with Super Deep Dive. You could switch it out and heal 30 damage from it, but that's the only way you're getting it out, because for a basic to have 3 retreat cost is kind of crazy, and I just was never a fan of this Pokemon. It sets up way too slow, and the 3 for 80 is not enticing, especially when you have the Torkoal and the Blaziken deck that does 3 for 80, and it's just an overall better Pokemon. I'm sorry, I believe he does 3 for 90 with that Flamethrower. Somebody correct me on that one. And then we have the Wingull, 1 for 10 with 60 health and 1 retreat cost. And I kind of do like the Pelipper. Actually, no, I don't. Because if you're only doing 30 damage to the other Pokemon, this move Swallow, which will heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon, you're just delaying the inevitable, because this thing's not going to have that knockout power you really need. Water Pulse is 4 for 70. Ouch. But your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Not the best Pokemon in the world, not the worst Pokemon in the world. It's not as bad as this frickin' useless thing. Although, as a stage 1, it only has 100 health. There's certain restrictions with this deck that would make it kind of not as good. And although it is a very adorable looking card, because I do like Mudkips, and I think Mudkip is very cute, it was the starter I picked when I got Sapphire. Mudflood, 3 for 40 plus. Reveal, oh gosh. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. This attack does 40 more damage for each water energy you find there. Shuffle the revealed cards back into your deck afterwards. I guess that could be helpful. I don't like relying on things like that, because you're relying on luck and risk to win a match instead of what you know will benefit you. So I'm not too big a fan of that move, especially since this deck doesn't run that many water energy. And you have the move here, Hydro Tackle, which is The other 2 Pokemon's EX moves are much better. Hydro Tackle, it's 2 water energy and 2 colorless energy. This Pokemon does 20 damage to itself for 120 damage. I'm not sure how useful that is. Also a 3 retreat cost, which isn't terrible. And then we go into more reasons why I don't like this deck. Pokeball. Flip a coin. If heads, that's useless because I don't like the coin flip idea. This is the only deck to have a switch, though, and it only has one of them. And with all the energy you're going to need to move these Pokemon, as you see here, 4 retreat calls. 2 on a basic. 2 on a stage 2, which is nice. 2 on a stage 1. 3 on a basic. 3 on another basic. You need 4 switches in this deck. That one switch isn't going to be helpful. Professor's Letter, all the other decks have that. Palpad, shuffle 2 supporter cards from your discard pile into your hand. There aren't ones that are useful. There's not many supporter cards in this deck that are good at all. Search your deck for a water type Pokemon. Like, this is so much better than the Pokeball. Why put the Pokeball in? Search your deck for a water type Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. That's way better. That's like infinitely better. And we have the fresh water set, which is okay, and the Evo Soda, again, okay. Search your deck for Pokemon that evolves from one of your Pokemon and evolve it. And obviously you can't use that first turn. Another coin flip. Shuffle your hand into your deck and flip a coin. If heads, draw 7 cards. If tails, draw 4. I guess if that's the only card in your hand, that's your only option. You have the AZ Trainer card. Put one of your Pokemon into your hand. Discard all energy. All cards attached to that Pokemon. With no way to pull energy out of your discard pile. That is an awful card. We got the TRNO. You know what that does. Pokemon Fan Club. Another card that I guess is helpful. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon. Reveal them. Then put them in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. But there's only one of them. That's the problem. Team Flare Grunt, for it to be a supporter card, is kind of a pain in the butt because you have Crushing Energy and... Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer. But for a supporter card, you could discard an energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. Opponent's active Pokemon. That is awful. Archie's Ace in the Hole, which isn't a card that's going to be helpful with this deck. I'm trying to think of a way. This can only be played when it's the last card in your hand, which is not going to happen often. Put a water Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench, then draw 5 cards. It's good if you could somehow use it, but that's about it. I do like the Stadium in this deck, which is why Avalugg makes no sense to me. Because you have Rough Seas. I use this. I have a deck where I have a few decks where I use this. You guys have seen it. Once during each player's turn, that player may heal 30 damage from each of his or her... Oh, I'm so sorry. 30 damage from each of his or her water Pokemon and lightning Pokemon. Or electric Pokemon. Healing Scarf is a tool, is a held item that you can put on a Pokemon as a tool. Whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to the Pokemon, blah, 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 heal 20 damage from it. Lovely. And you want to know the funny part? You have all these water energy. This is why the deck is completely useless. You have these nice water energy, and you have this nice double colorless energy. But my question for you is, how is this thing going to attack? It takes grass energy in its attack. There's not one grass energy in this deck. Do you understand now why it's awful? There's so many reasons why this deck is terrible. It's just completely freaking useless. There's 6 cards taken up that are not going to help you at all. Not even a little bit. So, there you go. There's my review of all 3. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Bye.